Okay, and Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone out there. Welcome to our first webinar series on quantity surveying, roles behind the scenes from the Faculty of Environment and Built and Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment. So today we're going to discuss about the roles and the responsibilities of quantity surveyors, especially in the construction industry. So just to give you a little bit of introduction, in the construction project, there are several parties involved in the completion of the project. It can be from private and public sector, and usually these parties form business agreements in the form of contracts to complete the work in projects and such as design, engineering, construction, management, and also maintenance. So let's start with our presentation. With me today is Surveyor Mukam Idris. I'm the lecturer in Masa University under the Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment, and I'm teaching for Diploma in Quantity Surveying. And with me today is Surveyor Mukam Idris. He is a senior lecturer and program coordinator for quantity surveying in this faculty. Surveyor Mukram has been with the university for almost 12 years and previously worked in the construction industry for 10 years. So, without further ado, let's start with our presentation. Alright, so what basically a quantity surveyor? Now, nowadays we all know that there are a lot of developments going on. We see a lot of buildings. Okay, we have high-rise buildings, we have medium-rise buildings, we have low-rise buildings, all sorts of buildings, and even nowadays we have a lot of buildings that have unique design. But who are the parties involved to these constructions? We all know that we have architect who made the design, who produced the design, especially to the unique buildings. Yes, we have the architect, and together with that, we have engineers who produce the structures, who do the construction, and also the design of the structures of the building. Okay, whether it is structures works or superstructure works. We have the builder, the contractor, who execute the construction works. And of course, we have the client who actually fund for the entire project. But let's not forget who is a quantity surveyor. So from today's webinar, okay, probably you will obtain basic knowledge on what quantity surveying practices, especially in the construction industry. So you can take a look from here that we have buildings, like what I mentioned just now. In construction industry, the involvement of these construction parties are very, very important to form a contract. Without these construction parties, there wouldn't be any, the building will not be completed. So let's take a look how important quantity surveying, especially in the construction industry. Now, quantity surveyor is a professional working within the construction industry concerned with building costs. Now, when we talk about building costs, what is it? We're going to relate about what is the estimated cost for the building. We have to think about the materials. We have to think about the quantities. For example, if you happen to walk into a building, okay, let's take, for example, a house, you will need to know what kind of materials to be selected for that particular building. Are you going to use concrete? Is it going to use a brick wall? What about the floors of the house, the flooring of the house? What about for the roofing material? So all of these actually concerned on the cost, on the building cost. And not forgetting the quantity. So quantity surveyor is very, very important to do the rough cost estimation for the entire building cost. Why is it important? To make sure that throughout the construction phase, the estimated costs will not be exceeding. So, what is quantity surveying? It deals with estimating and managing the cost of a construction project. It takes into account each material, resources, and equipment needed in every property development project. For example, when we talk about materials just now, we have selection of different types of materials. Not only that, we also have different types of equipment needed to undertake the construction project. So quantity surveyors work out the estimated cost at the start of the project and continue to keep watch on the costs as the project progresses. Why? The main reason is to make sure that the rough estimate does not exceeding the entire cost of the construction project. That is why project monitoring is important in this phase. Now let's take a look at the activities at the various surveying. So I'm going to pass this session to Surveyor Mukram to give a little brief on the pre-contract phase and the post-contract phase.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So, what Miss Irna just now said, there are already a good introduction to introduce what is a QS itself, right? So I said QS, become more famous. Okay. So quantity surveying is the long name for QS. All right. If we look to the activities during the construction stage, so we can divide into two main part, right? So we have there a pre-contract phase and another part after completion they are on the post-contract phase. Okay. For these two stage, QS play a roles to ensure everything in the track. Okay, if we look here for the pre-contract phase, okay, this is the main activity that we can come out with the heavy task, not heavy task, but you need to monitor from beginning until the end. Okay, for the pre-construction phase, we have some like inspection. Okay, we have a outline proposal, we have also scheme design, we have a detail design, and also tender. Okay, for this stage, okay, we do a lot preparation on the documentation, right? So the documentation, if we see all the phase here, we must make sure everything in the means the timeline. Okay, so we need to follow the guideline, and at the same time we need to finish it in the period that are stated in the tender, right? So if we go again, okay, for the next phase, which is a post contract. So in this stage, okay, we need to identify the correct way how to do the planning, right? So to make sure the construction works smoothly and efficiently, so we must plan, and then also we must identify what we will do on the site. Okay, the site operation itself, we have a lot of variation and so on. So start from beginning until the end, QS will be monitored mostly, and they will come out with the proper report and so on. So on the operation stage, QS will identify everything should be smoothly running in. Okay, for example, for the payment, for the progress, and so on. So if you see here, both phase, you will monitor and you will control everything. And at the same time, not only you, right? So not only QS on the side or on this phase, we will collaborate with other parties or other professionals. Sorry. Okay. So for more detail, okay, for the pre-contract phase, okay, if we come out with the task, okay, so there are a lot of documentation as what I'm saying just now. So documentation not only on your side, not only on QS side. Okay, we need to liaise with another parties or maybe with the consultant itself, right? Because you need to monitor them how they do the job, and at the same time, because we want to pay them, right? Okay, so how to come up with the progress payment and so on. So we will follow what they are stated in the BQ, sorry. Okay, so in this stage we will focusing on costing and also pricing and also analysis. So by using this, okay, in this stage, QS will must alert, okay, alert on what happened to the market. Okay, sometimes the price sometimes different with what we come out in the tender and so on. So they have a lot of rules that you need to make sure the project runs smoothly, right? And if you look here, we have the job need to do. Okay, we need to analyze and we need to compare the quotation itself. Okay, because sometimes in this stage, uh, different supplier or different time or different location, they will come up with a different result with the for the project itself. Okay, if we refer to the same project but there are different location, so mostly the cost also different. Okay, because the environment and also the location itself contribute a lot of quotation. Okay, so during this pre-contract space, so you need to come up with the good analyze, okay, to make sure everything in the budget. Okay, so what happened in the post-contract phase? Okay, in the post-contract phase, okay, if you see here, there are more managing side, okay, that you need to go through. Okay, in this stage, okay, we sometimes need to not only to prepare, okay, but you need to identify itself, okay, to come out with the payment and also for valuation itself. So you must have a good knowledge, you have must good experience to conduct the stage for post contract, right? So if we look for the nature of the QS work, okay, you need to go for site visit sometime, okay, because we want to identify or we want to monitor the progress work. Okay, so sometime you must familiar with, okay, the progress work on site. So how many percent already done, how many percent that you want to approve for the payment and so on, right? So for the time being, okay, now we have a lot of application that we can use. Okay, maybe before we just using a manual inspection or manual report and so on, but now we have a lot of what we call software. Okay, they can help us or they can help you to find out, okay, to come out with the accurate result and also analysis, right? So not only that, okay, if you look here, we have also you need to attend the meeting for the progress, okay, and sometimes you need to deal with the client itself, what happened to the site, okay. Sometimes the cost getting less or getting more and so on. So you need to deal with the client because client want to identify what happened there. Okay, so you need to come up with the proper report and so on. And also sometime your will be chased by contractor or subcontractor. Okay, the request for the payment. So you need to identify properly. You need to manage properly for make sure every parties involved on that construction they get what they are claim, right? And not only that, okay, you need to prepare also the final account payment. Okay, here also sometime you need to stay up, okay, because sometimes there are a lot of things that you need to what we call prepare for the final payment and also for final account, means for the closing account and so on. Okay, so during this stage you play a lot with parties. Okay, you need to fulfill all the requirement, and at the same time some happen or some changes on the side, so you need to come up with the good solution. Okay, so that's one of the phase that you will be headed. Okay, because a lot of things that we need to solve it. Okay, so that's why QS job is not tough but it's very challenging, and hopefully you can get the idea. So from there means QS become one of your what we call your aim for your future, right? So if we look more detail here, okay, for the next slide, okay, the important in construction as architect and contractor. So QS sometimes they need to solve the problem between what architect and contractor done. Okay, because sometimes they have some argument from different parties. Okay, sometimes you will solve, find out the good solution to solve and to fine tune again them. Okay, to continue the work. Okay, if not, some delay will be happen on site, right? Okay, US also they are cost manager. Yeah, cost manager. So you will handle the cost cash flow for the project. Okay, and if we talk about costs, okay, so to find out the good quality, so the cost must be on time. So means the payment and so on. We try to identify the best solution. Okay, so QS must have a good negotiation session, okay, with the parties involved. Okay, to make sure everything smoothly done. Okay. So sometimes give advice, okay, to the client, okay, because some of the client they have no idea on how to manage the project. Okay, so as a QS, okay, based on the cost issue, so you need to play a role to make sure the successful of the project is there, right? So you cannot just ignore the issue. So you must take the QS yourself, right? And also we have here, okay, capital expenditure phase. So which is in the building of facility. Okay, so not only the construction stage. So after that also you still have to manage on how to identify the project is successful. Right. What in all sector of the construction industry worldwide. So you not only involved with the building, okay, sometimes you will involve with a road construction, or maybe you involve with the what we call the dam Okay, not only the building. Okay, maybe you will involve with the infrastructure work, and also you can work in worldwide. So means not only in Malaysia. Okay, if you study in Malaysia, maybe what we are learned based on the case study here. Okay, but from your knowledge, okay, there are can be useful in another country. Okay, so if you look here, the responsibility, okay, of the QS, okay, you need to calculate the cost of the project component, and you need to identify for the total cost of an entire project. So, cost or the market value or the market price of the material, the labor, and so on. Okay, that's something that you need to update. Okay, you need to have a knowledge, you need to have a data. So from here, you can easily manage and easily get a quotation for each of the project, right? So very interesting part. Okay, you will determine the cost for the whole project, and you also at the same time become a manager. Okay, to control the budget. Right. Uh, that's part of the rules. So maybe Irna can have another issue she want to highlight here.
All right. Thank you, Surveyor Mukram, for explaining the contractual phases, especially throughout the construction project. We have pre-contract as to what Surveyor Mukram mentioned. We also have post-contract. Contract. Pre is before the project is awarded to the contractor, whereas for post-contract is when the project is already awarded to the contractor throughout the entire construction project until it is completed. So I'm going to continue to present on the basic services of the roles of a quantity surveyors, especially in Malaysia. So every time when regarding to cost, everyone will just appoint the quantity surveyors, which is to manage the entire cost of the project, okay, be it before or throughout until the end of the completion of the project. So what are the basic services which is outlined by the Board of Quantity Surveyors Malaysia? So here it is stated that quantity surveyors also prepare preliminary cost estimates, which means that before a project is being developed, okay, so the QS will come out with all these preliminary costs, which is rough cost estimates. It will not be the actual cost until the project is completed, but it only serves at the beginning, okay, something which is going to be quoted by the QS to the client of the project. Secondly, QS also prepare the financial statement of regular intervals during construction period. As to what mentioned by Surveyor Mukram, especially in the post-contract stage, the project is already awarded to the contractor. So when the contractor completed his work by stages, so of course the contractor will have to claim from the employer a certain amount of money based on the work executed. So this will be reflected in the financial statement, which is very important to make sure that the expenditure cost of the entire project will not be exceeding the rough cost estimates. Thirdly, it is to prepare and execute formal contract. So QS, they will control the entire contractual matters in the construction projects. A set of standard form of contract will be used to make sure that all parties in the contract will be protected. Fourth, prepare bills of quantities or specification document for tendering, especially pre-contract stage. So the bills of quantity will reflect the quantities, the overall quantity of the project, together with the materials and equipment used, so that it will be easier for the contractor to enter the tender. Fifth, we have the advice on cost estimates regarding design development project, such as advices on procurement, tendering, contract procedures before a building can be developed. And quantity surveyors also organize calling of tenders to all the contractors out there in order to select the best contractor for the project. How do they select the best contractor is when the QS actually evaluate tenders received in form of tender reports. Not only that, a quantity surveyors also interim evaluate work progress on site for interim payments as stated in the preparing of financial statement. And last but not least, when the project is about to complete it, the quantity surveyors will compute all calculation from the interim payment to settle on the final project accounts, which means after the final account is being produced, the contractor may not be able to claim further. So that will be the total cost of the entire project. Now, why study surveying? Now, in Masa University, we offer diploma in quantity surveying in our faculty of engineering and built environment. So why quantity surveying? It prepares learners to develop a range of skills that are essential for many industries, not only towards costing, we also learn about management, contractual, construction, and also to develop distinctive expertise in measurement, costing, construction technology, construction economics, and also legal knowledge. Now, just to add on, in Malaysia, especially in the sector of built environment, we have the architecture, quantity surveying. Okay, they are actually in the list of the top 20 courses in Malaysia with high job demand in the future, which means that, especially nowadays, we have the pandemic situation. The opportunity to get involved in this job is still top 20. What are the skills needed for one particular person who is going to get involved in quantity surveying? Okay, the skills needed is to have good mathematical and numerical skills. Basic mathematics is very important as it involves a lot of calculation on costings. Not only that, we also have IT skills, communication skills, at where most of the time the quantity surveyors in the future, if quantity surveyors will have to deal with other construction parties, especially presentation and also doing presentation and also in during meetings. Organization skills, which is to monitor throughout the entire project to make sure that the cost is not exceeding the first cost estimate. The skills that needed were also the problem solving skills and also negotiation skills. Okay, so now let's pass the slides to Surveyor McCrop to explain on the qualifying as a quantity surveyor.
Okay, thank you, Miss Irna. Okay, so for the next, okay, I try to identify, okay, if you want to be a qualifying QS, so you need to involve with not involve, not only involve, you need to register as a member, right? So for beginning, okay, you must complete study in any pre-university program for the QS, and you need to enroll in any university or institution, okay, that offer bachelor's degree in QS. So from that, okay, you can register as a graduate, okay, with the Board of Quantity Surveyor Malaysia, or as we know as a BQSM. So they will recognize you as a member, and the employment will be supervised by Royal Institute of Surveyor Malaysia, or RISM. So at the same time, what you are learn, in Malaysia, you must the program itself must be under MQA approval. Okay, and at the same time, the content, the syllabus also will be uh monitor, okay, by BQSM for the bachelor, and for the diploma they will monitor by RISM. Okay, so whatever you learn, so mostly they are the basic thing or the basic knowledge that you will prepare to become a professional quantity surveyor. Okay, so this is normal uh, entry requirement that if you want to enroll for the diploma program or degree program. So in NASA we have a diploma, so we're running within 2.5 years. So you need to have at least SPM with the 3 credit minimum, then include mathematics, right? So because in QS we have a lot of calculation, and at the same time you need to pass Malay language and also English. So that's a requirement for entering the diploma program. And we have also degree. So for the degree, okay, if you to enroll, at least you have a A level minimum 2D, right? So this is the rules for entering. If you are from SPM holder, sorry, STPM, so you must have minimum 2C, okay, or CGPA at least 2 pointer. Or if you are from the Australian matriculation, so minimum of ATR is 70 score. Or if you are from the Canadian Free University, average is 65% in 6 subjects, also including maths, right? So if you already have a diploma holder, so you're entitled to enroll for the degree. Minimum CGPA is 2 point. Okay. This is for another issue. Sometimes you can go for direct to year two if you are CGPA for diploma 2.67, right? If you are from the Masa diploma, you can go directly to year two. Or maybe you have a foundation in art or built environment, so minimum CGPA, okay, is also 2 point. And if you are from UEC, minimum is 5B, including maths. Okay, if you look there, maths most of the important part. So don't worry, maths is can be calculate by calculator. Okay, for not only manual, okay, we have a lot of tools and instrument that can help you to become a good student. Okay, so if we look next, this is the pathway education for what we call the program itself, huh? So you can see this is the way how you can develop your own career for your future. Okay, if you start from SPM or O level, okay, you need to enroll as a diploma student for 2.5 years. And at the same time, same level, you are from foundation, for example, foundation in arts, science, or built environment. So you do that for 1 to 2 years. You are entitled to go for the degree QS, right? And also, if you are the candidate from the pre-U, okay, 1 to 2 years, okay, either you are at A level, SEM, STPM, or etc. So you also entitled to go for the degree in QS or quantity surveyor. So if you look here by, if you already have a diploma, okay, if you are score good, you are entitled to go for the second year degree. Okay, for the foundation and you need to start from beginning lah, right? So it's very simple pathway, and you are able to successful in each of the stage, right? So if you already grad as a quantity surveyor in the degree holder, okay, so you, as I mentioned before, okay, you can register as a graduate quantity surveyor, okay, under BQSM. So they will have a lot of chances for you, okay. If you are already registered, so you are already, means one of your foot is already in the QS profession. Okay, if maybe some of you want to furthermore study, you can go for the master and master or PhD in quantity surveying. Okay, so maybe you have a lot of things to do the research, to do the analyzing and so on. So maybe you go for your master or PhD, right? So if let's say you are what we call focusing on the professional on QS, okay, within the 2 years, okay, you need to fill in the logbook, okay, your project handle, your successful project, the list out of the project that you involve. Okay, you can go for the test. Okay, we have a exam, okay, for you to become registered QS. So mostly within 2 years, okay, your experience, what you are gained from the site. So they will test you. Okay, they will identify either you are uh, what we call uh, if you are able or not. Okay, to get the title for registered QS. Once you get a registered QS, so you are in the top professional list. So you are able to approve the project, approve, and also you also can form the what we call your own company and so on. Okay, so they have a interview session on that. Okay, interview either oral or by writing. Okay, they want to identify, the board want to identify either your knowledge is quite uh presentable or not. Okay, to become a registered QS. So that's from beginning until you become a professional. So okay, we go for the career development opportunity. Okay, so you are not only focusing on the construction for the building, right? If you look to the first stage of the ranking there, okay, maybe you involved with the construction, or also some project like oil and gas, or maybe you involved with the banking, okay, the financial, and sometime you will the project related to communication or telecommunication, maybe the what we call fiber optic, or maybe the what we call now Wi-Fi and so on. So they have a lot of things that they will develop and they will build. So let's consider your chances to fill or to fulfill the uh, to fulfill that sector, right? And also manufacturing. Okay, sometime, or if you already have a master or PhD, you can go for the education. Okay, so they have a lot. They have more choices, and each of the stage there. Okay, if you go for the construction, so in that construction, you can attach or you can involve with the contractor, or maybe you become a developer, or you are in the consultant firm, or maybe you involve with the facility management, or maybe you also will solve some of the problem in the arbitration. Okay, so you have a lot of opportunity. Okay, and you have a lot of chances to develop your own future, right? So okay, let's look on the oil and gas. Okay, maybe you are good in the management. Okay, because oil and gas sometimes they have a lot of project. Okay, some of the project needs to monitor, and you are what we call a good candidate to fulfill that position. And banking also, they have a lot of what we call the related tasks, okay, to the QS. Okay, for example, on the procurement department or risk analysis, asset management, property management. Okay, all this involved with the value of the building, value of the work done, and so on. So in the banking also will accept you as their uh, main part, okay, of the people who are managing the department. All right. So that's why the title today, okay, the rules behind. Okay, so we try to highlight what is the QS itself and their rules, not only on the construction. So they have a lot of sector that you can contribute your professionalism, right? So, all right. So anything else? Okay, Miss Irna.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Surveyor
Yeah.
Mukram, for explaining all these career opportunities. We also have the entry requirements of quantity surveying. Not forgetting the most important topic content, which is the roles and responsibilities of quantity surveyors in construction industry. So we would like to thank everyone out there watching our webinar, and we hope that we are able to see you soon, especially in Masai, as the number provided here on the slides, or check out our website at www.masa.edu.my, and don't forget to check out our open day this Saturday and Sunday at Masa University. Thank you so much.